YOLO composing gloves here.
And Jordan.
Today we're going to be talking about automation. So we've talked about the step sequencer, the mixer.
Yes.
The sequencer itself. You've made a couple beats and you've sort of gotten your head around some of the workflow. It takes a while to get really into it. So today I want to introduce you to this idea of controlling things over time.
Okay.
It's really like the last major piece, and then the rest of it is learning like what effects do, what effects are what, that kind of a thing. So first, let's just let's do something cool with automation. So go ahead and open up an instance of Harmless.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you a cool thing. If you right click on the plus icon here, like this,
Okay.
you get that, and then you can just type in Harmless.
Oh.
And then you double click and boom, there it is.
Yeah, that's...
So sometimes I'm a big fan of the menu. You'll see me go into the menu all the time if I know where something's at. Yeah. But if you right click on it, it'll take you to this. And you can even organize your stuff at the bottom into like categories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty handy dandy.
I'll have to make some use of that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to load up the Ades synth preset.
Okay.
So there's one, I think it's underneath, there's one for the 80s. I believe it's under leads or keys. Might be basses.
You said leads or keys, and what's it called?
There's one, it's just one that has 80s in it.
Oh, that's what it says?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking, 80s keys. It's in keyboards.
Oh, it's in keyboards, all right.
Yeah, it's spelled out too.
Yeah.
So it's
probably over here.
It starts with E.
80s keys right here.
That's the one.
Boom.
Did you have that? Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write in a little chord progression in the piano roll. Oh, fancy! You completely skipped the channel rack. You're gonna be better than me. At the end of this, it's gonna be crazy.
I doubt it.
So I'm just gonna do like I'm gonna do an arpeggio kind of thing.
Cool.
And then I'm gonna go down to the 5 and just do it there too. So I'm gonna do C minor, G minor, C minor, G minor.
Yeah.
And we'll get. So we're writing out a musical phrase or a line, something we're gonna use in our track. So you're staying off the beat. You're on the well, that whole thing is measure 1. So this is beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. So I wrote 16th notes. Or 8th notes, I mean. And I want quarter notes. So I'm going to make them go out to the line there. So like that. That's what I wanted. Gotta think more carefully about what I'm doing. And I want it to repeat twice. I'll move that over there. Do one of those.
Wait a sec.
So I want to keep it simple for now. We're not gonna like write out anything because I want to show you automation.
Okay.
So we're writing this right now not as a beat, just as an automation exercise.
Okay. So
so I just stuck with something like this. If we go to yeah, I dig that.
Okay. See.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you have? Hit play. I feel like you got some stuff in some wrong spots.
Yeah. No, it should just be like.
I like the da na na na. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. So.
You want it all on the beat though, right?
Yeah.
Which means that it should line up with these grid lines.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're like they go in order of darkness. So the darker the grid line, sort of the bigger. So the darkest ones are the measures.
Okay.
And the next darkest are the beats. So. Yeah. So now it's on beat 2.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and turn your metronome off. You can hit M if you don't have if you have the keyboard enabled right now though.
Yes.
So you have to click it.
I have to click it.
Yeah.
Dang.
You could always turn the keyboard off by like Control M or not Control M. Is it Shift M? Just a sec. Control L. I don't even remember. That's how little I use this now.
Okay, cool. So
But
now,
I used to know. So anyways, that is where, so we're right there and we've got this. And so let's say, okay, I'm gonna lay it down. Bam, bam, bam. I've got 4 of them. But for my intro, you know how those old synths have that sweet, you know, if we played it.
yeah. Ooh,
Yeah. You know how they would do this? You know, they'd have things changing in real time and it sounds cool.
Yeah.
So automation is how we do this.
Okay.
So to do this, simply right click on whatever you want to automate. So go ahead and get harmless open.
Okay. Harmless is open.
How do you bring up the channel rack? Oh, nice. You see the floating window layout is superior.
Yeah.
Because you can do crap like that. Oh, there's stuff going on out there. Anyways, you see this big frequency knob?
Frequency knob. Yes.
Right there. So this big frequency knob controls what's called a cutoff value for our filter.
Okay.
And there's actually a really visual way of understanding this, which I'll show you real quick because it's pretty easy to show.
Okay.
So if I open up whoops, not that one. So here's an equalizer, and if I play it, you see there's all our frequencies. And this one right now is a low pass, so it lets our low frequencies pass.
Okay.
And it will cut off the high ones. So we can do that by simply bringing this down. So basically, we're just moving this back and forth.
Oh,
so
wow.
when we move this value, we call this the cutoff.
Okay.
So we're moving, so this is the frequency cutoff. So whenever you see a knob labeled frequency,
Sure.
and you move it, you're controlling the cutoff.
Okay.
And then you see this knob right here, resonance.
Yes.
It's like now we add a little peak where our filter is. So as we move it, this peak will move with it.
Okay.
And so now wherever our cutoff is, those frequencies will be louder. And so I'll show you what that sounds like if we turn our resonance up. And we get So what we want to do though is we want to control this over time. So I'm going to right click it. FL's ability to do automation is freaking awesome. Like other DAWs have nothing on FL when it comes to capabilities of automation. Like you can automate, it's not nearly as great in other DAWs.
Right.
But anyways, you right click on whatever you want to control. It's literally that easy. And you go to create automation clip. So I've got my thing. Let me just deselect this. So if I right click and go to create automation clip, it's going to create a clip. This clip controls this knob. So that's why I was like, oh, you started doing stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Oh, okay. I
so
understand.
now when it's down, let's say I want it to turn the filter to start on and then turn off or open up. I mean, because off and on is kind of a weird concept. So now as I play it, check it out. You'll see this knob move with the instructions of this line. And then we can do something really crazy. Like maybe we want to do something like this. You know, that's like, wow, look at that. Like up, down, pretty fast. You know, you can do some really cool things.
So check it out. So I have the line. And will it only affect the highlighted pattern or will it affect all the
It'll
patterns?
affect all of them.
Okay, so it doesn't even matter if anything's selected.
Yeah. So there's a couple different kinds of automation in FL. This one's the most common.
Okay, so now how do I manipulate this? I just move the line around.
Yeah, so to add a point, you simply right click. Can you add points?
Adding point. I think this would be a good place to add a point.
And to delete or change it. So you can right click on a point and you get like all these options. And you're able to type in a new value. So a lot of times it's desirable to have something at 50%. You can also change, so like check this out. So you have these different curves. So you see how there's these little bevels that appear?
Yes.
So I can have this bevel be something else. I can have it like I can choose wave.
Oh.
And now it's like this crazy wave of form.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. Pretty wild. I usually stick to single curve because that's usually what I'm doing.
Okay, so I'm just going to delete these 'cause I don't like
You
this.
can't delete the endpoints because they're the endpoints.
No, I know, but I could delete them, the ones that aren't the endpoints.
Yeah, the middle points. And there's a couple different modes that's useful to know about. So you see how I click this point and drag it around.
Which
and
point?
the two endpoints, these guys stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I turn on slide up here in the corner, all the points after will slide.
Whoa.
With it. And if I turn it off, it goes away. Same for step. If I turn on step and then click drag,
Okay.
I can like draw on like that. And this is, I rarely use it for this, but if you right click and just drag, you can delete points super fast. So if you have like a bunch of
That makes
points.
sense.
So that is automation clips, and you can use them to control all kinds of things. So in this case, we're controlling a filter cutoff. I picked this because I thought it was kind of a cool sounding example.
Okay. I accidentally made another
Yeah,
one.
so you can delete it just like you would delete a pattern. So yeah, you just right click on it.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So I made like a bunch of dots. So now I'm gonna.
One thing I like to do when I'm working and I want more room is you can just drag it open. You get a lot more accuracy where you put stuff. Click on the, you see how I get this little arrow icon up down? No, go to the track that you're, so you see how it's on a track?
Yeah. Okay.
So you're going to go to the bottom of the track that
Right there.
it's on.
Right here.
No, that's the track that your pattern 1 is on.
Oh.
You want to expand, track 2.
That's what I want. Look at that.
So you open that.
I'm styling now.
And you can, zoom in, get all fancy.
All right.
Like, I'll go ahead and do something for every note because I'm so fancy.
Okay. Whoa! Look at all this.
So just making some shapes. I'll make this one, different. This can honestly get so much deeper. Like, I'm just showing you what it is.
Yeah.
But there's a whole workflow that goes with this and ideas about how to do things. Like, check it out. I can do this. Let's say that I want every single one of these notes to have the same filter movement.
Okay.
Before we used an envelope. Remember, we had an envelope and it would do that for every note.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do it with an automation clip too. So if I just zoom in here, I can take this one automation clip and duplicate it 4 times. So now every single note. And then if I change one, it'll change all the other instances.
All right.
And so now I have something like this for everyone. And let's say that on the last one, I want to do something different. So I'll go and I'll make that one unique, just like you would make a pattern unique.
Okay.
And then, I get this. And so this is really powerful, like what you can do with this.
Right.
It gets obnoxious very quickly. Just the options are huge.
Well, let's get obnoxious, shall we?
And this style of automation editing isn't something that's common across DAWs, which is mind-blowing. You'd think it would be more common. There's another flavor of automation that FL also supports that is a lot more common. That we dove into a little bit one time.
We did?
That was automation in the piano roll. Remember those lines I was drawing where the velocities normally are?
Oh yeah.
That's the other kind, and you can record that one.
But
in real time.
We didn't get into too much depth with that.
Yeah, this one is going to be the more useful one when you're new. The other one will. Oh well, I don't know. They're both pretty helpful. When I was brand new, I had no understanding of what automation was really. Whenever I learned it, I always learned it with an effect, and I thought that was how you controlled that effect. And so I had a completely wrong idea about how it works. But at this point, let's go ahead and we'll both make a quick beat.
Okay.
And I want you to incorporate automation and do something, cool with it.
All right.
And then I'm going to do something. And I want you to find, let's do this for 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I want you to find 3 different uses for automation, I guess. 3 things you're using it for.
Okay.
Just try and use it 3 different ways. So don't have each one be like a frequency control.
Right.
Have one be something else.
Okay.
And see if you can come up with some cool things. Now, if you double click on the automation clip, you get a couple other kind of useful options.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so go double click that. So you see here this minimum and max?
Yes.
So I could bring the minimum way up. And it's just basically saying that these values are basically up here. So you see how it's not going all the way down to like what we would think the minimum is.
Yeah.
And if we bring it all the way down, that's more of what we would expect. So these could be useful for compressing the range.
Okay.
Yeah, I grab these a lot because what you'll do is you'll do this, and I could do this. Let's take the minimum and automate that.
What?
So now we're automating the control to an automation clip.
Okay.
It's like crazy. And the reason you'd want to do this, because it sounds kind of crazy, why would you want to do this, is this. Let's say that I've got something that goes, you know, like that. And then I have this repeating a bunch of times.
Okay.
So right now it's going to hit the whole way the entire time. Well, I could automate, what am I automating? The minimum level. Let's say that I just bring this up as I go. And it will become more and more effective as we go here. So you see here, it's like doing hardly anything. And we could do the reverse. We could automate the maximum to turn off.
Yep.
And so we're automating an automation clip,
Right.
which can be pretty helpful sometimes.
It's a dream within a dream.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go ahead and make something.
Okay, wait. Just refresher. So, do you want me to delete all of this and start from scratch?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
All right, cool.
Just make a cool
Make it
thing.
Yeah, make it cool. Also, like to get this again, what do I go back to harmless and then do that?
To get the automation clip?
Yeah, to get the automation clip.
To get the automation clip, okay, so that's a good question. So the automation clips live in an area of the channel rack. So if you click on your channel rack, you see how we have a one called automation, one called unsorted.
Yes.
So you just go to your automation, and all your
then
automations will live there.
Oh, cool. So they're gonna manifest themselves as like a new section in your channel rack.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And if you go to all, everything's listed.
Ooh.
But you can actually have multiple automation clips for one control.
Okay.
You want to be careful. Sometimes you can overwrite. There's all kinds of times when you're doing sound design that it's desirable to have two things be controlled by the same automation clip. So let's say that like I want, I'm going to grab my frequency automation here. And what I want my, I don't know, my pluck to be controlled as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do this. I'm going to right click on my pluck. And instead of creating an automation clip, I'm going to link to a controller. The automation clip is instructions, so it's a controller. So I click that and I go to internal controller, which is talking, the internal controller is the automation clip. And I simply select Ades keys, automation. And I'm going to turn off remove conflicts. So remove conflicts will turn off other stuff.
Okay.
So it'll say this is the only thing that controls now.
Okay.
And so I want this to control two things. So I'm going to turn that off. I don't want to remove conflicts. I want them both to be controlled. I'm going to hit accept. Now, as I play it, we see they're both moving according to the same automation clip.
Yeah.
So you can like link a bunch of things together
All right.
that way.
Got it.
So yeah, you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's make a thing. Here we go. What are you asking? How to automate?
Yeah.
Right click on whatever it is you want to automate and select create automation clip.
Right here, right? On the channel?
No, on whatever it is you want to automate. What are you trying to control?
Oops. The line that I just made.
The line.
In pattern 1.
On
the
what are you talking about? I'm not totally sure.
On this.
What do you want to control? You want to control the frequency?
Yeah, like what you just showed me.
That we're controlling the frequency on that one.
Yeah, but isn't like another track supposed to show up underneath?
Yeah, but you got to create it. So you right click on the frequency and select create automation clip.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
And that's how you make that.
Yeah.
So I recommend trying out messing with different knobs.
Okay.
That way you come up with cool things. Ones that I recommend checking out are the pluck knob. You might enjoy what that does. You might enjoy the bigger ones, like the amounts. you'll see like what you'll kind of hear what a phaser does
All right.
and stuff like that. That could be helpful.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
How do I get to the piano roll
What a piano roll of what?
of pattern 7? There's nothing in it right now, but
So if a pattern is empty, you have to go to the channel that you want in pattern 7 and get to the piano roll that way. So what are you trying to write notes for?
this is like a new section that's happening, and I need notes so that way I can like mess with them.
Are you what synth though are you trying to write for?
Hold up. Oh, I guess this one.
So you right click on that one.
Oh wait. Actually,
No,
this
that's the automation clip.
one. Oh, so then this one.
Yeah,
Piano roll.
piano roll. Yep, that's it.
And now I'm in pattern. I'm in the pattern that I want to be in, right?
Yeah, you can tell because you're in pattern 7
Yeah,
up there in the
cool.
corner.
Right.
Yep, cool.
Thank you.
All right, we went a little bit longer than expected. But we have various examples of automation. I know I've got plenty of them. You've got a couple.
I was having issues like trying to figure out what exactly to do with it. Also, I remember you telling me about like I was able to break it up and like make it unique, so that way I can like duplicate different automations.
So I'll show you a bunch of examples.
Yeah, I didn't get a
What I'm
chance.
doing. It's hard to know what to automate when you don't know very much about sound design.
Yeah.
Sound design. So that's part of your problem is you just don't know. You just don't know about certain things. So you don't know that that's something you'd want to control.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I did the best I could, with the tools I had, and I tried to, I think I did one form of it, and you'll hear it when I play it.
So yeah, let's why don't you go first
Okay.
and sort of explain what you have and make sure you're still recording well. Go
Is
for
it
it.
good?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
All right. So this is what I got.
Cool. The tensious rising. I was like, ah!
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, let it drop right there. Yeah. So, what do you want to say something about it?
Yeah. So what I did was I tried to use automation kind of to propel the beat forward. So I started off with like a pretty like minimalistic riff like at the beginning, And what I did was I used automation to kind of to beef up like the lower end, you know?
Yeah.
And then what I did was I used the fader, like as it kind of progressed, I used the fader and the pluck to slowly kind of give it more of an edge.
Your automation, when you say beef up the lower end,
Yeah,
you're
well,
actually opening up the high end.
okay. So I guess that's what I
If
was
you have
doing.
a low pass, yeah. But
Yeah.
it gives support. Yeah, the sound opens up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really know all the technical terms for exactly what I was doing,
Yeah.
but I mean you could kind of see what I was trying to do
Yeah.
with the limited knowledge that I had.
Cool.
But
No,
yeah,
it's good.
So that's what I did.
Keep improving, keep progressing. It's just another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Automation is one of those tools that sometimes you will use a lot of it, or sometimes you use very little.
Yeah.
So I went down a path that involved a lot more automation than like some other styles of writing. So I guess I'll play for you what I got thus far. Work in progress. Let's give it a listen.
Yeah.
So I got up to here and I was like, I don't know anymore. But the whole first bit,
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with this first portion. So let's talk about what I'm automating here. So the first thing I'm automating is the thing that you're also automating. That's the filter on this guy. So I'm automating him. You see him moving up ever so slowly.
Right.
Now you'll see in my projects a lot of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the heck is that? Well, the thing is, I'm automating these over here, but sometimes you'll have stuff start with the value over here. Like if you have your cursor over here and then you go back to the beginning, sometimes it won't reset back to the default that you wanted at.
Okay.
So what I do is I chop off a little bit of those and scoot them over at the default. That way it starts at the value that I want.
Oh.
So that's something you'll probably run into.
Okay.
So that's why there's like random little ones at the beginning. You
Right.
might also run into some where no matter what you do, it keeps resetting to a particular value, and that issue will be found in here. It'll be in the file menu.
Okay.
It's you'll need to dig through, I believe it is patterns, and you see initialized controls. You'll have to delete the one that's pissing you off. I didn't know about this for a really long time, and I would find ways around it by like resetting automation clips or doing things. Once I found out about this, I was like, what? So now I just come in here and just delete crap. This is set by the by a different kind of automation. Sometimes you can accidentally set it by moving a control on a MIDI controller
Okay.
with the record button on. You didn't realize it. But anyways, that's what the first one's controlling. That's what these guys are about. Coming over, this one I don't actually think I'm using anymore, but this one I am. This is a second filter. This one's controlling the filter on bass 3. So it's moving this one over here. So if we come over. that's from the opening up of the chords. So I decided to use some chords to open up, and I went for a 1-5-6-5-1
Nice.
kind of progression. And then these other guys were being used to turn them off. This one is turning on, so right here the bass hits. And what that is I'm turning on a subharmonic. So all I'm doing is moving this fader up, and it turns on a frequency. We can actually see it. There's a lower frequency that comes in.
Yeah.
It's not on this one though. Which one is got the fancy automation? Anyways, I'm moving one of them.
That's some real surgical.
So yeah, that's what's happening
Yeah.
there. So the bass comes in a bit. I layer up the do 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 do. I cloned it,
Right.
made one an octave higher as a separate thing, so I can mess with it individually. I'm messing with the tremolo here very lightly. I believe it's on this one. You can see the tremolo coming up. It creates a woo woo woo. But I took out most of this stuff because now a different patch entirely is playing
Yeah.
half this stuff. And then there's this moment here. So that guy is being controlled. Which one are you? You're one of these. This one. So you'll see I think it's the wet knob I automated. Yeah, I didn't see. Nah. Okay, come back down. Because it's going to be really loud if I leave it up there like that. I have some other things on the mixing side that you could be refreshed on. So my drums, I'm doing a lot of what's called sidechaining. So you notice that when the kick happens and the snare, it pops through everything.
Yeah.
For the most part, it could be improved. What's happening is so these bass and these Ades keys, if I turn these effects off right here, these are I'm using these for what's called sidechain. If I turn them off, you can barely hear a kick somewhere in there, but you're not sure where. Like, you can't hear it at all. Now I'll turn them back on, and you'll hear it. Suddenly you can hear the kick.
Yeah.
And that's the result of these limiters. In reality, I'm using them as compressors. So they're called the Fruity limiter. They have a compressor. And what it does is it lets me say, if we look at this, that purple hole, that's my kick drum. And when my kick happens, it's looking at it. So if we see it's set to my kick, and then it says, oh, I see your kick, turn down this channel.
Okay.
So I've got a big loud sound coming through here that would normally cover up my kick, but here it turns that loud sound off for a second while my kick is playing, and then turns it right back up after my kick's all done playing.
Wow.
And there's all sorts of settings, so I'm messing with that too.
So like my patterns again didn't show up in my mixer.
They're not gonna show up in your mixer. You have to send them to
I
your
have to
mixer.
send them there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
you
also-
have to set things. So like you see here, I've routed them all. Control L, you select a channel. Hit Control L, it will send it to the mixer for you. Or you could set it up manually, which is cool too. So you don't set patterns. So you've got this mix up between patterns, channels, and synths.
Yeah.
So as a quick sort of overarching refresher, I don't remember if that's supposed to be there. Pretty sure it's not. As an overarching refresher, you have your channel rack. Your channel rack holds your audio clips, your automation clips, and your synths.
Okay.
A channel rack instance, a version of it holds holds your patterns. So your patterns are loaded up in your channel rack where you see what each channel is doing at a particular moment. If that makes any sense. So you see these synthesizers are making these notes in this pattern. And then if I want to automate something, you don't automate patterns, you automate controls. So I would go to a synthesizer in my channel rack and I would automate
And you would
a
automate
control.
that. Okay.
Or I could automate a fader in my mixer. I almost never do that though, for reasons we'll talk about later. And after that, what I'll do is, or not what I'll do, what am I saying? Anyways, that's what the mixer is. here you could see your patterns in a particular sequence. And you see your automation clips, see your audio clips. So I've got audio clips in here. I don't believe we've done audio clips in there. But you can see here, like, for example, I have this reverse symbol. Here's the channel in the channel rack. But if I click it, it'll play. And then I have a impact. That's also a channel in the channel rack under audio. If I go to all, it appears down here.
Okay.
And then these make less sense to write as MIDI and more sense to just have on the sequencer. So I have them on the sequencer. That way I can zoom in and line the waveforms up.
Okay.
So I just drag and drop them on there. And you can do that. So audio waveforms are really straightforward. For stuff like this, it makes more sense to me to have it just be on the sequencer, because you can stretch stuff in time and shift stuff by a little bit.
Like I wanted to, so like right here, like right before the drop, I guess you can call it, quote unquote. After this, like I wanted to mess with these long notes, so I wanted to like break this up right here. You see, I wanted to break that up, make it a separate thing, and then like do something different to these notes over here. But instead,
you want to break the I zoned out there for a sec. You want to break the pattern up?
Yeah. Well, no, not the pattern up, but you see what I did here. I want to break that up and do a separate thing. So that way, look, if I put like a dot here, right?
Okay.
See, I don't want.
Well, okay. There's two ways you can do this. One of them is you could just put another dot, make it 0 for the whole time it's going on.
So like how?
So like, let me take this one as an example. So here's my automation clip.
Okay.
Let me save this. Okay. So you want a dot out here, but I don't want that, so I could just make that 0.
Whoa. Okay.
So you can do that.
So like if I put a dot here, right, I can just.
Yeah, just drag it all the way down. Now it's 0.
So then now.
And then you add another dot at the location you desire to start, and then make that one 0.
Okay.
Now add another dot. Now you move from there.
Okay.
You make a rectangle. Now there's another way, because this way isn't. This is one of those things that sometimes you want to have your automation clip visible. But the way I'd probably do it in reality is I would go like I'd have this deleted. I delete these. Am I not hitting D? I'm hitting F. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Okay. So the way I would do it was I would just chop it off here and just move this over and start writing more. Since there's no automation clip here, well there's a or I'm not going to say that word again because I can't say it right.
A what?
Caveat.
A caveat?
Is it caveat?
Caveat.
What did I say the first time? What did I say? Caveat?
Oh, something.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, maybe.
Caveat? Whatever.
I'll have to go rewatch that
There
video.
is a caveat. It's right here. You see this? My last value was 100%. So during that time, it's going to be 100%.
Okay.
So if you want it to be 0, you still need to add a down dot.
Oh.
And it will be 0 there. And then over here, then you can adjust it. This is actually a continuation. Watch. If I drag this out the other way, I get the rest of my clip. This matches that.
Yeah.
So it's like one continuous strip. It's like you've just created a wormhole to over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So automation clips. Yeah. So that's how I would continue. There's a couple ways I would do it.
Okay. So here, let me try that. So look, if I just want to cut this in half, all I have to do is, what do I hit shift and just go down? Like that? No.
Oh yeah, how do I cut them? I go like this. I hold this shift. It's got to be the left shift. And then I just drag hold the phone. This is the other shift. It's the right shift. We're very shift specific. So yeah, you slice it. There you go.
Oh, I did it.
Now, if you want to do it, you could select the cut tool too. Sometimes you don't, because you need to be in an extra track for that to work. So what you do is you can just come up here and select the little slice tool.
Uh-huh.
And now you...
Oh, now I can just slice things.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like it, though. It's a waste of time to go all the way up there.
Yeah.
They've given us a superior method of navigation.
Sure.
Yeah, for you, I think it's just a major hurdle navigating and stuff.
Yeah.
After you get over that and your ideas, I think, are being stifled by trying to put them in a piano roll.
Uh-huh.
Like, I feel like I'm hearing compromises. Like, I'd like to do this, but I couldn't figure it out. So I settled for this.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of new people do. They compromise a lot. I compromised a bunch. There's still compromises in my work, like every now and then. I just gave up trying to figure out what I actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, but this kind of a thing too, when you're composing, I like to I'll compose for a bit and then I'll go listen to a bunch of it, get some inspiration,
Right.
and come back and do it. But when you're recording, it's kind of like a unique challenge because you can't go nowhere. You got to figure it out while you're right here. And so it's like, oh crap.
And the way I approached this was like, okay, I have a pattern. I'm just gonna do like a slight variation on it and then call it, you know.
I knew I wanted to do some sort of like a retro wave kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I went straight for the drums, I believe, first. And once I had my drums, then I went for this synth pattern. And I was like, okay, this was actually added later because it just didn't sound as interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Then I added this because this sounded empty. So before it was just this without that. There was no riser, just drums came in.
Yeah.
But it sounds a lot more dynamic when you kind of take the listener and say, hey, here's the thing. Yeah, and it kind of fits well with the snare drum too. And then, you know, here's like this section. I wanted a melody. And what's awesome about this is technically the melody. All this stuff up here. Da na 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 na. You know that thing?
Yeah.
But this down here, it hits like the notes are repeated instead of being one long note, and that fills in the division because there's a note that hangs over, but the bass note's repeated, so it fills you in. But the melody, you know, you don't expect the melody necessarily to do that. Once it repeats a couple times, then you sort of have the expectation, but it just sort of.
Yeah.
So that's how I went for it because I have a tendency to write in too many notes.
Yeah.
I think everyone
this note
does.
This note's wrong. Should be. That's what that note should be. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, because now we have this. Now we have. Oh crap.
Yeah.
That's basically just a 2-5-1 in C with a harmonic minor scale, and that was kind of how I prefaced it. Yeah, and that's basically the whole thing.
Oh yeah. So, anyways, that's that. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed
Day.
day.